watching College Football Now, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Happy Labor Day. It has been an awesome week to start off the college football season. And before we put a bow on things tonight with Florida State and Boston College, let's go over our winners and losers from the opening week of the season. We'll break those down for you coming up in just a few moments from right now. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Did your favorite team win this weekend? My Kansas Jayhawks got a win Thursday. I was at the USC-LSU game last night, and I had the money on LSU. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. So my team for the night didn't work. But nonetheless, I enjoyed myself. I'm liking the video because my Jayhawks came through. If your team won this weekend, like the video, do your part, and we'll get started with today's show. Let's begin with the winners list and start with Cam Ward. Cam Ward, a fantastic showing in his debut with the Miami Hurricanes. And this is somebody that, coming out of Washington State last year, there was interest from the NFL level of the idea of potentially him making the move to the National Football League, as he initially declared, ultimately pulled out of the draft, went to the transfer portal, goes to Miami. And I think if we learned anything about this Miami team this weekend, from the performance that Cam Ward had to how this team looked, how they just shut down Florida as a whole, I think the thing that we learned is that Miami is the team to beat in the ACC this year. Florida State, of course, lost to Georgia Tech last week. Virginia Tech losing to Vandy on the road this past week. Clemson really struggling. Miami, this is theirs to lose, and they got a guy right there in Cam Ward who's going to be a Heisman contender. To the losers list, that's where we find LSU head coach Brian Kelly. Brian, you let me down, my guy. I had LSU -4 in Sunday night's contest, and unfortunately they came up short. And for me, what was so inexcusable about this was how much LSU gave this game away. As I sat there in the stands and watched this game from start to finish, I said to myself afterwards, although USC won and it was a neutral site, the better team tonight lost this game. There was no excuses. It came down to coaching. And we heard Brian Kelly saying afterwards that this was the first time since he's been at LSU that he's been mad at his players. Well, Brian Kelly, you need to look in the mirror, because the number one reason why LSU lost was because of the poor coaching decisions that Brian Kelly made and going ultra-conservative in the second half. Just a bad night for Brian Kelly. Getting out-coached by Lincoln Riley, that should never happen, for goodness sakes. Back to the winners list, and this is where we find Travis Hunter. Going back to Thursday night against North Dakota State, Travis Hunter was unbelievable on both sides of the ball. And I don't even think it's close, folks. The best player in all of college football right now is Travis Hunter. And this is his world, and we're all just living it, folks. Now, how many games is Colorado going to win this year? That remains to be seen. I do not think Colorado is that good of a football team. You got him and Shador and a couple others, and that's all that they really have on this Colorado squad. They don't have a ton of depth. But the way that Travis Hunter is playing on both sides of the football, even if Colorado doesn't win a ton of games this year, just because of how rare this is to have a player doing what he's doing, the Shohei Ohtani of college football essentially here, it's going to be hard to keep him out of the Heisman conversation. After week one, he's got to be the Heisman favorite right now. He's without question the best player in my eyes in college football. What do you guys think? Is Travis Hunter the best player in college football? It's our pinned comment today. Weigh in, let us know. Y for yes, in for no. Tell me what you think if Travis Hunter is the best player in the country or not. Weigh in the comment section. Let us know. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Looking for tickets to sporting events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more. Game Time's got it all. Game Time's got a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Last night, I got my tickets through Game Time, folks, and you can too, as they have these super deals. If you stumble upon a super deal, you won't want to pass up what they have to offer, folks. They also have their seat views so you can see what the seat looks like, get the visual. Choose the event you want to go to. Prices listed. Choose your seat. And then just like that, you're checking out on Game Time. Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Loser list we go. We find Dabo Sweeney, the head coach of the Clemson Tigers, in another disappointing performance for Clemson once again, as this team really could just do nothing right. Offensively, which is supposed to be Dabo's specialty, they looked rough. The defense really just got worked in the second half by Carson Beck and that Georgia offense. And it goes back to an ongoing theme that we've talked about with this Clemson program for quite some time, that it's adapt or die. And Dabo has refused to adapt. They're not bringing in players through the transfer portal. They're not embracing NIL, and they continue to fall behind. And that was evident again in Saturday's loss to the Georgia Bulldogs here. And I think one more point, too, when it comes to this Clemson team that's not getting enough credence, I think that they've taken a significant step back since Brent Venables left town and went to the Oklahoma Sooners to be their head coach. They had defenses under Venables that were just as good, if not better, than the best defenses in the SEC. And they're not even close to that right now. Meanwhile, the Oklahoma defense these days is looking a lot better, and the Sooners had a nice performance against Temple there. So I think, yes, the NIL and all that stuff's true, but I think missing Venables is a big problem for Clemson as well. Got to talk about Miller Moss, the quarterback from USC. He's on our winners list. And Miller Moss, what an opportunity for him, right? We know about Caleb Williams going number one to the Chicago Bears in the draft. They had talked about bringing in Will Howard, the quarterback from Kansas State. Ultimately, he goes to Ohio State. And they settle in-house on Miller Moss, who had played very good in the Holiday Bowl last year against Louisville. He ultimately wins the job, and this is somebody that's waited for his time. He's been very patient, and boy, did he show up making some clutch throws down the stretch, going 27 of 36, 378 yards and a touchdown, and playing from behind, too. When they needed to play, Miller Moss could make a play, and leading that game-winning touchdown drive. Now, is Miller Moss going to be winning the Heisman Trophy? Probably not. But I think that this USC team, coming off a disappointing season last year, they only won 7 games with Caleb Williams, and now you win a neutral site game with Miller Moss, and that defense greatly improved. USC has to feel a lot better about themselves right now. Loser list, we go to Billy Napier. I'm on record on saying this on X. I'll repeat it once again. Billy Napier is not going to be the head coach of the Florida Gators by the end of this month. This thing is falling apart fast. Losing to Miami at home is one thing. It's another to get your ass just smacked the way they did. And this has been an ongoing theme for Billy Napier at Florida. They've done a bad job when it comes to NIL and the transfer portal since he's been there. He's got a buyout of about $25 million there with Florida. They have one of, if not the toughest schedules in all college football this year. There's some real issues there, and the bleeding doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. I think Napier is going to be done here. What do you guys think? Will Billy Napier get fired this month? Is now the time. Type HY for hell yes if you agree with me. HN for hell no if you disagree. Weigh in. If you want more college football content, this is the channel for you. We're certainly ramping things up here on college football now as we're bringing you our daily news and rumors. We're doing live shows. We're going to be doing some watch parties throughout the season, all right here on College Football Now. If you want more college football content, join the family, as we're certainly going to be heating things up. And the best part about it, absolutely free. Subscribe now, youtube.com/chatsportstv for daily college football coverage. So one of the bets I made this weekend, I took the over in the Alabama-Western Kentucky game, which was 61 and a half, something like that, I believe. The over did hit, 63 to be exact. And the thought process I had going in was that if you're Kalen DeBoer, a new head coach, first home game in Tuscaloosa, you want to put on a show for the fans. And they put on a show with 63 points and a shutout on the defensive side of the ball. Milroe and company looked good. I think that it was a very good start of this new chapter for Kalen DeBoer of setting the tone, establishing things early. I think they have to be pleased with what they saw in their performance, even if it was against Western Kentucky there. Back to the losers list, and this is where I find Garrett Nussmeier at the quarterback position for LSU. Somebody that has been waiting for their name to be called, right? And he was supposed to be the better quarterback last night. Everyone said, hey, he's better than Miller Moss. They got the better quarterback. They got the experienced quarterback. He's a fifth-year guy. He's been waiting for his time. This is his moment. And Garrett Nussmeier really struggled to move the football down the field, to stretch the defense. He played like he was playing not to lose rather than playing to win. His one interception came the very last play of the game, but I was not impressed. It was a significant drop-off from what that LSU team had in Jaden Daniels last year. Last on our winners list, I got to shout out Vandy. I'll be honest, I was not expecting to be talking about Vanderbilt football on Monday, but here we are. Clark Lee, the head coach at Vandy, former defensive coordinator at Notre Dame, and this is a big win for them. Clark Lee's tenure at Vandy has been kind of up and down to start off to this point, but this was the biggest win that he's had at Vandy so far as they took down what I thought ahead of time was a decent Virginia Tech team with Kyle Drones at the quarterback spot. And they went in there and they ate their lunch. Took this game to overtime, finished the job at home. And all the Virginia Tech fans coming into their stadium there in Nashville kind of invaded the place, turned into their own home game. And that didn't affect Vanderbilt. They still found a way to win. Big win for Vandy. Now we'll see if we're talking Vanderbilt potentially going forward. Who's the winner from college football week 1? If you had to weigh in, who do you think it is? No wrong answers here. Let us know in the comments section who comes to mind. Last on the losers list, I got to go with Neal Brown. I have said for quite some time that Neal Brown is a hack, that Neal Brown is a fraud, and, you know, every time he cashes a paycheck, he's stealing money. And here we go. After last season when they were handed such a cupcake schedule in the Big 12 Conference, and everybody was like, wow, watch out for West Virginia. And then here they are, their first big test, a home environment. I know there was the rain delay and all that. Big Noon was there, and Penn State just tore them to shreds. This game wasn't even close. And Neal Brown, I'm going to tell you this right now. I think West Virginia can do a hell of a lot better than Neal Brown. I don't know what they're doing sticking with Neal Brown. This won't be the only loss they have. I think there's plenty more to come. The Big 12 is stacked. America's conference is the deepest conference in the country this year. In West Virginia, there's more losses to come. I can guarantee you that much. And we'll be talking about Neal Brown's job here, I think, sooner than later. For continuing college football coverage, subscribe now. We got you covered each and every day. I'm Tyler Jones. We'll see you next time.